Hello everyone, this is Madhuri here. I am presenting to you the series of Donate Your Time in the Nation Building campaign which is started by DKTT. In this series, I am talking about 11th standard of psychology books. I have done my masters in counseling psychology from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. Let's start what we have done till now. So in the first lecture we have talked about what is psychology. In that chapter we try to understood the points how psychology has evolved throughout time from abroad to India and how it is connected to different subjects, the people who are working in this field of psychology, how they are working and what they are doing. And in the second chapter we try to understand what are the methods of psychological inquiry, what are the steps which is taken in psychological inquiry, and what are the objective behind conducting the psychological inquiry, which was in the chapter number 2 of 11th standard, that was method of inquiry in psychology. So before I begin this lecture, let me make it 2 points clear. So there was 2 mistakes which happened in that lecture number 2 video. One which happened from DKT part, they forgot to mention that it is part 1 of the lecture number 2. From my side, I also made mistake that I did not talk about any concluding remarks of the chapter and what will be coming in the upcoming video. So from my part, I apologize, and in the upcoming videos I will try to not repeat this mistake. Okay, so let's come back and talk about what is I am going to talk about the chapter 2 of the part 2 video. So that was the part 1 and this is the part 2 of the video and the ending part of the chapter. So in this chapter we have already understood that objective behind research and steps taking, what are the steps which is taking the research. Now we'll try and understand what are the nature of the psychological data, to what are the methods of psychological inquiry, to what are the ethical challenges which come across while conducting the research. So the data, it says here in the point, which is it is the singular term which will be the datum. It relates to individual overt or covert behavior. Overt, that means observable behavior. Covert, that means all the mental processes which is involved in the behavior. Mental processes could be perception, learning, thinking, as I mentioned in the lecture number 1 of the video. Then it says subjective experience and mental processes. Subjective experience could be the points which I am presenting at present and through communication, and you are watching over there, learning the points through my knowledge. So your perception and intelligence involved in it. So that is the subjective experience, and the mental processes which is also part of it. Mental processes and subjective experience. So now we'll try and understand what are the kinds of data which is available or being collected while conducting the research. It can vary from demographical information to physical information to psychological information or physiological data. So demographical information could be related to age, name or birth of the order of the person. To physical information could be like what are the outer surrounding of the person, which can be housing condition, the size of the room which is available where he is residing or she is residing, or it could be ecological condition, that could be like hilly area, he is residing in hilly area or desert area, or any sort of another area. Psychological information, physiological information could be height, weight of the person or heart level of the person, which is related to very particular about the person only. Then it comes to psychological information. Psychological information, all those points which come in the mental processes, which I talked even first in chapter, that was thinking, perception, and whatever it is involved in all those processes, motivation, cognition, all those points will come in psychological information. So let's now we'll try and understand what are the different methods of research. So there are 4 to 5 broader methods, and in those broader methods there are sub methods. So different methods are like observation, experimental or correlational survey, or psychological testing or case study method. So now we'll try all those broader sub methods in part of these all methods of psychological data which is being conducted in psychology. So first we'll try and understand observation method. So observation method is a method where a person is observing. By name itself says observation. Observation, what is observation? We observe and try to understand that behavior. So observation cannot be done of all the points which is happening at that present when the research is being conducted. Even in observation, a person has to follow steps. Like there are 3 major steps, which is selection of behavior. So there are many factors of any particular behavior. So when a behavior is happening, there is a complex behavior, many factors is involved. So person select that behavior. So giving example, person wants to understand that how children study in 11th standard spend their time in school. So children will be doing so much of activities in the school, but the particular behavior the researcher want to understand is how they study, how they spend their time in school while studying. So here the key term is studying. So here the person has selected the studying behavior, not all the behavior. Okay, this next step person has to follow is recording. So whenever the particular behavior is happening, a person select that behavior and record those behavior. It can be through photograph or video recording or any sort. The person needs to decide that. And then in the third step, after recording, the person analyze that behavior. So whatever has recorded, he goes back and try to understand that behavior again, and based on understanding he need to make the analysis of that behavior. So what can be there are different types of observation method. So observation method could be participant observation to non-participant observation, naturalistic observation to control observation. So participant observation, a person especially participate in the particular group in which he is conducting the research. Here he can inform that particular group that he is observer and taking part in that particular group where he is conducting the research, or he can hide his identity that he is researcher and he build a rapport and then participate in that group, and he understand or conduct the research while being participant. In the naturalistic observation, a person does not participate. He just observe the behavior as it is naturally happening in real life setting. It can be a behavior of kindergarten children, how they behave in playground. So there he can just record it, whatever is happening in that playground, and later he can analyze that behavior. In controlled observation, so there are many factors which is evolved in observation. So he select that particular behavior, he rule out all those different other factors, and then he select that particular behavior and he conduct the research on that particular behavior only. So here he is very much specifically focused, But at the same time here there is a drawback, that when he's tried to control those all behavior, so it becomes little mechanical. So now we'll try and understand experimental method. So before we try to understand experimental method, let's try and understand what are the benefits and demerits of observation methods. So benefit could be he get real life setting behavior, or the exact behavior which is happening, which is just raw, but at the same time he take so much, when he is participating, so it takes so much time to build a rapport, and there are different sort of behavior which is happening, so he has to select that one, so he has to rule out all those behaviors. So it is time consuming too, labor consuming too, plus at the same time it is very much susceptible to observable researcher's bias. So because he is conducting the research, so whatever thought or processes or identity of the person, it reflects on that research too. So it is susceptible to researcher bias.